It's about to get real tense, and there's a lot of girls and boys who are still trapped inside the machine, working, paying their flesh debts.
The FBI has made a shocking discovery about Jay-Z's role in Diddy's trafficking ring.
Were you surprised that there were so many cameras in his houses?
No!
So let me ask you, when you hear that Cassie was told to hire male escorts to come in what they call freak-offs now,
Yeah.
Is that something normal that happens in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Freak-offs.
Hey, everybody know that.
Will Diddy start snitching?
He better. But the only thing I'm interested in him talking about is everything he knows about Kathy Coriana White. See, I know you know what happened to Corey. Diddy, I know that.
She only had 1 or 2 drinks, but about 40 minutes later, Jane Doe started to feel nauseated and dizzy. She even began to lose control of her motor functions.
On August 25, 2001, the world lost R&B's rising princess, Aaliyah, in what was initially believed to be a tragic accident. But when you start to peel back the layers, her death begins to look less like an accident and more like a setup. The small Cessna 402B that crashed in the Bahamas was over 900 pounds above its weight limit and carried 1 more passenger than it was certified for. Even more alarming, the pilot was not legally authorized to fly and had both cocaine and alcohol in his system, but the story gets even darker. Reports suggest that Aaliyah didn't want to board the plane. Some sources claim she was drugged before the flight and was unconscious when she was carried on board.
Pilot, who we'll talk about in a minute, recommended that only 7 people fly with Aaliyah, or a total of 7 people in the party. She happened to have 8 in her party, and there was also some heavy equipment and luggage on board. Aaliyah was a nervous flyer, and she was immediately sort of put off by this. Another thing, the flight was scheduled to take off early in the night. It was about 3.5 hours late to arrive at the Abaco Islands.
Which, if you're a nervous flyer, already adds to your anxiety. You see this tiny plane, they're late, it's nightfall all of a sudden. Shortly after takeoff, literally 200 feet from the runway, the plane nosedives and crashes, killing nearly instantly 7 of the passengers and the pilot. The only survivor in the immediate aftermath of the crash was a man named Scott Gallen. Scott Gallen was Aaliyah's security guard.
Why was Aaliyah rushed out so quickly? Who stood to gain from her death? These aren't just tragic coincidences anymore. They're warning signs. Red flags pointing to something deeper, something deliberate, and when you start following the trail of power, fame, and jealousy, it all leads back to 2 names, Jay-Z and Beyoncé.
I have to honestly say that everything is worth it. The hard work, the times when you're tired, the times when you're a bit sad, the good moments when you're on stage performing in front of thousands of people. In the end, it's all worth it. Because it really makes me happy. And I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. I honestly wouldn't.
And if Jay-Z was watching Aaliyah rise too fast for comfort, his obsession may have been far more dangerous than anyone ever realized. Jay-Z's fixation, Aaliyah's rejection, and the fallout that followed paint a troubling picture. According to Dame Dash, Aaliyah's boyfriend at the time, Jay-Z was deeply in love with her. So much so that it destroyed their friendship when Aaliyah chose Dame instead. What fans didn't see was how personal and how dark this triangle truly was. Allegedly, Jay-Z had been pursuing Aaliyah even when she was still underage, a disturbing detail that casts an even heavier shadow over the rumors, because in hip-hop, when a powerful man is rejected, that kind of bruised ego doesn't just fade. Festers.
The plane crash that killed a rising star in the world of music and film. Reaction today after Aaliyah and 8 others were killed when their plane went down. Good evening, I'm Lauren Glassbergen for Sandra Bookman.
And I'm Tim Fleischer. The plane, just after taking off for Florida in perfect weather, suddenly plummeted to the ground. Investigators now saying one of the engines apparently failed. Along with 8 passengers, Aaliyah, a young Brooklyn native and a talented singer and actress. Jeff Rosten is live in Times Square with more on her life. Jeff.
And Aaliyah had a huge following not only here in New York City but nationwide. Only 22 years old, this pop sensation was a popular singer. She was an actress in some movies recently, even a Grammy nominee. Tonight, her family is in mourning. Fans asking, why her? Relatives in shock outside Aaliyah's home on the Upper West Side. The R&B star lived here at the Century, Central Park West and 63rd. She was on a small plane heading to Florida from the Bahamas, where she was shooting a music video.
Sweetest person you can know. Very intelligent. She knew what she was about and she knew what she wanted to do with her life.
Aaliyah's life started here in New York City, born in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. But as a child, she moved to Detroit, where friends today remembered this young star.
Aaliyah was my best friend. She was a beautiful person on the inside and out. And I'm just shocked.
Aaliyah's hits include Back and Forth and At Your Best. She acted in the movie Romeo Must Die and was slated to appear in sequels to The Matrix. But her life, her dreams, were taken away. On board the Doom Cessna, Aaliyah and 8 others, including a representative for Virgin Records and a makeup artist. Investigators say one of the engines apparently failed. They crashed just short of a runway on Abaco Island. Members of her dance team arrived safely on a different plane.
She's a beautiful person inside and out, and we're gonna all miss her deeply.
She will greatly be missed. You know, she had a great impact on many lives, and it was a great experience to share that time with her.
The family, too hurt to speak on camera, but released this statement. Aaliyah's family is devastated at the loss of their loving daughter and sister. Their hearts go out to those families who also lost their loved ones in this tragic accident. Fans at the Virgin Megastore in Times Square say Aaliyah was a role model.
She had it going with her music, her acting career. She had a lot going for a young girl with a lot of potential.
This is another mark of the crash, live from Times Square, a billboard for Aaliyah's new album, but you can see when Virgin Records heard about the accident today, they covered it right up. The bodies right now are in the Bahamas for family identification. We're live tonight in Times Square. Jeff Ross and ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
People are starting to ask, did Jay-Z's feelings for Aaliyah go beyond music? Was he trying to possess her, not just creatively, but personally? And when he couldn't have her, did he help erase her? Conspiracy theories suggest that Aaliyah's refusal and her relationship with Dame may have placed her in the crosshairs of powerful industry figures. To them, she wasn't just a rising star. She was a threat, a symbol of independence they couldn't control, and Jay-Z wasn't alone. His closest ally Diddy had secrets of his own. And when you start connecting the dots between the two of them, their shared history begins to look far more sinister than anyone imagined.
Jaguar herself confirmed that this arrest was a warning from the elites to keep her mouth shut, but did it work? Heck no. It's like trying to stop a leaky faucet with a piece of tissue paper. That tea just keeps on flowing. Things got even crazier after Jaguar's appearance on Piers Morgan's show. She went on Instagram Live the very next day and accused Jay-Z and Beyoncé of making some phone calls to get her slapped with felony charges. It's like they're playing a game of Celebrity Monopoly, but instead of go to jail, it's go to real jail. But wait, it gets even wilder. Jaguar also accused them of using witchcraft to make people blindly follow them. I mean, I always thought Beyonce's dance moves were magical, but this is taking it to a whole new level. Now, people are starting to worry that all these legal attacks on Jaguar are leading up to something bigger. Some folks are even bringing up the case of Kyle Marisa Roth, a popular TikToker who was exposing Diddy and Jay-Z just days before she was found dead.
Diddy and Jay-Z, just days before Aaliyah's tragic death, their names were already echoing in the shadows. This wasn't just a friendship. It was a dangerous alliance, a calculated partnership forged in the early 90s, built not just on music, but on strategy, power, and silence. They weren't just collaborators. They were partners in power, rising to the top while skating past scandal and legal chaos. In 1999, Jay-Z was pleading guilty to stabbing a record executive. Around the same time, Diddy was dodging charges after a deadly nightclub shooting, and yet, both men walked away clean.
P. Diddy sacrificed this rapper to save his career. On December 28, 1999, Sean Puffy Combs and his then-girlfriend were celebrating an album release for Shine. Shine was Puff Daddy's 21-year-old protege. They were leaving Club New York when Combs accidentally bumped into Scar, knocking a drink out of his hands. Things escalated and 3 people were shot but survived. Combs and Lopez were arrested for fleeing the scene with a gun in the trunk. J-Lo was quickly absolved. But witnesses said they saw Combs fire the gun, and the driver testified that P. Diddy bribed him to say the gun was his. Shine ended up being the fall guy and served almost 9 years for the incident. Shine alleges P. Diddy bought a witness to take the blame off himself. Combs changed his nickname to P. Diddy to put all this behind it, and 3 years later, Scar was gunned down in a Brooklyn nightclub. There are so many suspicious deaths around him, like when
untouchable, but the question remains, how? 6. Some now believe it wasn't just luck, it was protection. Shared knowledge, shared secrets, and perhaps even shared crimes. Their bond went far beyond music. And with Diddy's recent downfall pulling Jay-Z into the courtroom by association, more people are beginning to ask, what else have they been hiding together? The timing, the loyalty, the silence, it all points to a partnership rooted not just in business but in control. When singer Jaguar Wright came forward, she confirmed what fans had only whispered about for years.
Jay-Z's career, you can look at that and say the association to Beyoncé is when he started to receive the 16, 17 Grammys since he's been with Beyoncé. Right? And you go, prior to that, 1.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that came in association, like you see their kids even have Grammys. Like they don't sing yet. They don't sing.
Right.
They don't rap yet. And they already have Grammys and shit. So it's like they give them this trophy so we secure that they're coming to the award show. It meant that much to the culture that they just gave them the thing.
Jaguar Wright's allegations weren't just explosive. They shattered the illusion of the industry. In a series of jaw-dropping interviews, Wright accused both Diddy and Jay-Z of being far more sinister than anyone imagined, even linking them to Aaliyah's tragic death and decades of hidden abuse. According to her, Jay-Z didn't just desire Aaliyah, he wanted her out of the way. And Beyoncé? Wright claimed she wasn't innocent either, accusing her and her team of using witchcraft and manipulation to rise to power following Aaliyah's exit. Wright labeled the couple's silence amid Diddy's scandal as calculated, a strategic move to wait out the storm while concealing deeper, darker truths. But what truly left people stunned was her final claim, that Jay-Z had orchestrated similar takedowns before, starting with Aaliyah.
In an official statement, Homeland Security investigation said it executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation with assistance from HSI Los Angeles, HSI Miami, and our local law enforcement partners. This follows from a series of lawsuits from women allegedly that Diddy abused them. Diddy wielded tremendous influence in the entertainment business during the 1990s and 2000s, and all the victims claim he abused his power towards sadistic ends, including violence, rape, and emotional manipulation. In February, a music producer alleged in a lawsuit that Combs coerced her into having sex with prostitutes. And by the way, if you got the video, just to show the video, and then I'll tell you what they found with his there's a bunch of things going on with this. Play this clip. Which house is this?
Wright's statements lit a fire. The theories that once lived in the shadows of Tumblr threads and deep internet forums suddenly surged into the mainstream. Then came the lawsuit, the one that made people stop laughing at the conspiracies and start paying attention. It was the 13-year-old Jane Doe case, and it revealed a disturbing pattern. In late 2024, a civil lawsuit surfaced that stunned even the most jaded hip-hop insiders. The claim? That Diddy and Jay-Z had drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl at an after-party following the 2000 MTV VMAs. The details were horrifying, the setting eerily familiar. Even more chilling, the lawsuit alleged that another celebrity witnessed the incident but did nothing. Though the case was dismissed in early 2025 due to conflicting statements, the damage was already done. The silence had been shattered.
You know, there's a short life in
Why do you think that is with the creative side?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take drugs. You're going through so much shit to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far. You know, who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what he had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. You know, but when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire.
Pattern was impossible to ignore. Allegations of underage abuse. Silent observers. Celebrities tied to Diddy and Jay-Z, their names connected by both reputation and receipts. Even though the lawsuit was dismissed, it validated every fear, every whisper of a rumor fans had harbored for years. One accuser is one thing, but when multiple stories start aligning with the same disturbing details, it becomes hard to dismiss. And if this was indeed a pattern, the next question is, who benefited most when Aaliyah vanished? That brings us to the star who filled the void in every way, Beyoncé.
How you feel about Diddy in his case right now, and all the updates you hear?
How do I feel about it? Well, listen, I think he should keep maybe not. He should keep some rope on his soap, or make sure he don't drop it in certain places. In case if he do, he might like it. But long story short is that he need to take his counsel advice. Because if he think he's going to get out of this from the federal government, he out his mind. They in the process of plea bargaining, trying to do a plea bargain session with him, and he not taking it. That's probably why one of the lawyers jumped off the case. Remember Benjamin Bradford, his first lawyer with the Cassie situation? He said, give her the 10 million and make this go away, brother. He ended up giving her 30 million. He's not taking the lawyer's advice. 9 times out of 10, they probably got him a good plea bargain. Yo, listen to me, we can give you 15 years. 10 or 15 years. You do that, you come out, you only have to do like 12, 13. Come off to a halfway house. You still could live some of your life out as a free man.